rightfully dubbed a freakazoid on signing day.
Yeah, I mean, he 100% is a freakazoid. I mean, you combine the size and the way he moves. I mean, you can't help but wonder, is this the second coming of Calvin Johnson with that combination of size, strength, speed, all that type of thing? Now, obviously, he's got to be developed. He's got to stay healthy. He's probably got to have a good quarterback to throw the ball to him and, make plays in that way. So we're a long way off. But the comps are there. It's very comparable to a guy like a Calvin, like a Julio type of dude, those type of wide receivers. So, I will be looking forward to the report that you give once you see this dude in person.
Him and Jonathan Hatton both on the same football field. How about that? And maybe the two most physically gifted signees in Oklahoma's entire class. Bo Bentley's going to be there as well, so you will literally get to see your entire future, the entirety of your future backfield at Oklahoma between Bentley and Hatton. Like, those are the guys that are going to man the backfield for years to come. It's just a matter of when they ascend to that level. But you'll also hopefully, and I don't know whether they're going to be on the same team or not, but you'll also hopefully get to see Bentley throwing passes to Jaden Petit. That's the future right there.
Maybe throwing passes, handing the ball off to Jonathan Hatton, that type of thing. Hey, who on the text line said that his comp would be Martavis Bryant?
Martavis Bryant, that's a deep cut,
yeah,
man.
That is. The Waffler, I watched a lot of tape on him. My comp would be Martavis Bryant. Okay, cool. That's a name I've not thought of in a minute. Lest we forget the reasons why Martavis Bryant's career was cut short. So hopefully his career doesn't follow the same path. But Martavis Bryant ain't bad. I'll tell you another dude, too, and I'm not going to divert far away from the illicit issues off the field. Could this dude be kind of adjacent to Josh Gordon?
Josh Gordon, man.
Who, in case you've forgotten, Josh Gordon was a dude.
He flew high, and he flew very quickly.
Yeah.
And he flew a little too close to the sun. And then that was that. But Josh Gordon, like vintage Josh Gordon.
Dude.
Josh Gordon was the only thing in town for the Cleveland Browns in 2012, but it was amazing.
Who was his quarterback? Like, it was
Brandon Whedon.
It was Brandon Whedon. He put up 1,500 yards with Brandon Whedon as his quarterback.
On the text line, which, by the way, if you want to chime in throughout the show, please do so, 405-651-3439. Brandon from the 405 with a good question I want to get to in just a minute. But first off, couple things. The show is brought to you today and every day by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, and if you're shopping around for a new vehicle here in the holiday season, check them out. GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones offers outstanding personal service, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Now, the other thing that's going to be worth watching at the All-American Bowl, Grayson, is that generally what happens throughout the festivities, and it's a whole week of practices leading up into the game, but the kind of the cool thing about the game, also the thing that makes it last forever, we're talking like 3 hours plus, is the fact that basically at every single stoppage, like between quarters, during TV timeouts, because it's nationally televised on NBC, every single time there is a stoppage of play, one of the participants in the game is announcing his commitment. And so you will have like 10 to 12 commitments packed into the presentation of the game. And there are a couple of players that are committing at the All-American Bowl that as of right now I expect to choose Oklahoma.
Okay, so All-American Bowl is not just graduating seniors.
It is not just graduating seniors.
Okay, good to know.
It used to be. And even then, you'd have some guys that would hold off on their decisions until January. Like Javonte Barnes was a guy that announced at the All-American game in Orlando a few years back, for instance. But last few years, I don't think Oklahoma has received a commitment in the All-American Bowl since, gosh, I don't even know when. I can't recall the last time off the top of my head there was a player that committed to OU in San Antonio. But in the last couple of years, they've opened the game up to underclassmen as well. So this game will feature players from the 2026 cycle and the 2027 cycle, i.e. juniors, rising seniors. And a couple of the players that I think Oklahoma is poised to land as we get closer to the All-American Bowl, first name's not going to shock anybody because he's been a heavy OU lean for a while, even while he was committed to Texas. And that is TAVEN EPPS, the 4-star linebacker out of Tustin, California. He's going to announce at the All-American Bowl. The expectation across the industry is that he's going to be an Oklahoma Sooner. That would be great news for OU. That's a national top 100 prospect, a big, sizable, athletic presence there at the linebacker position that you can hopefully pair with the likes of a Case Alexander later on down the line in your 2027 linebacker class. But the other one, Grayson, and this is not a name that has been too widely circulated. This is not a name that I think most in the OU community are well aware is leaning toward Oklahoma right now. But 4-star defensive tackle Devin Robertson out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, is supposed to announce at the All-American Bowl on January 10th, and I really like where OU stands in that one as well. Now, Oklahoma already has a defensive tackle commit in the 27 cycle in Elijah Harmon, who just announced a couple of weeks ago in the Sooners' favor over USC and Oregon and Nebraska. But get this with Devin Robertson. 6'1", 320 pounds. A big old boy.
Yeah. Okay, let's
physically similar to Dominic Williams in many ways.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. I know he's 320 pounds, so a lot heavier than a guy like Taj Overton that we had talked about. But the 6'1", now, is that a little bit below the height standards of a gymnast, or are we right on point with where he wants them?
No, I mean 6'1" is permissible. I mean Dominic Williams is 6 feet.
Right.
6'1" might be a little bit generous of a listing for Dominic Williams. They just took a commitment and signed James Carrington in the 2026 class.
He is
6'1".
Yes.
Yeah. And so, man, it's not necessarily – I do think Oklahoma wants to get to the point where they have some diversity in the defensive tackle room, and you already see that to an extent. Trent Wilson is 6'1", right? Like top 100 signee in the entire 2025 cycle a year ago. He is 6'1". But then you have guys like Marcus Strong at 6'4", David Stone at 6'4", for instance. Who else is there in that defensive tackle room that we don't talk about a ton? Nigel Smith is 6'5", you know? And so Oklahoma isn't necessarily just recruiting one type of defensive tackle, one archetype, if you will. So Elijah Harmon is 6'3" and 300. A little bit different in terms of the build and in terms of the skill set than Devin Robertson, but you want to have some diversity there, and I think Oklahoma's due just to have a big, low to the ground brawler there in the trenches. I think Devin Robertson could be your next Jaden Jackson type, i.e. not necessarily somebody that's putting heat on the quarterback with great regularity, nor are his contributions necessarily showing up in the box score every single week. But
you can't move him.
No, you can't move him off the line. He's just down there taking up space, clogging holes, making life easier for the other 10 guys on the field.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good archetype to try to duplicate, too. And when you think of a guy that big, you're thinking of, Vita Vea type of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just you can't move them with one person. Generally can't move them with two people either, which helps keep those linebackers clean. And we know linebackers in Oklahoma's system with this type of coaching staff, you keep them clean, they're pretty dangerous.
What was the question from Brandon in the 405 that I wanted to get to? Oh, here's what it was. Of the receivers that didn't play much this year, who would you say is vital in being retained? And I mentioned at the top of the show there's just not a ton of recruiting news circulating right now, and that's primarily because, as we've referenced repeatedly throughout the week, Oklahoma's primarily focused on roster retention right now. And I think it's easy to say, Grayson, that the two guys that didn't play much this year that will no doubt be high priorities for Oklahoma as far as retention is concerned are Elijah Thomas and Emmanuel Choice, your two signees from the 2025 class. Because this program, I think it says a lot. If you've paid attention over the years, it really says a lot about what the program, what the coaching staff thinks of a certain player if they're trying to get him on the field some way, somehow, and where you notice this is on special teams. Because if they're sending guys out there on special teams as true freshmen, those are the guys they believe in. Those are the guys that they think have a future. Those are the guys that they hope will be cornerstone contributors a year or two down the line. You saw this a season ago with Reggie Powers and Michael Boganowski, for instance. You're seeing it this year with both Elijah Thomas and Manny Choice. Those guys have been, I don't know if they've been on every single special teams unit for Oklahoma, but you have seen those guys out there on the field a ton with the various special teams units that see action throughout the course of a football game for Oklahoma. And so what that suggests to me is that Oklahoma's trying to prep those guys to be impact dudes in 2026.
Absolutely. I mean, there's hardly anything to add there because you don't want those guys to just sit around and get cold and whatnot. No, give them some run. Let them get on the field. And I'll tell you what, you cannot underscore the value of getting your legs underneath you and running down the field. Like, if you wait for your first time to be when you're actually playing a meaningful snap, sometimes those legs get a little bit wobbly. You're like, oh, like you have those, oh, crap, like here I am. Like, no, let them get on the field, run down, get hit some people, and let that signify that we want you to be ready to go next year. I like the strategy.
Tom in Tulsa wants to know, where does Jacob Jordan stand for next season? I think he's kind of just a guy right now in the receiver room. It's become clear what the upper crust of the Oklahoma receiver room consists of. Isaiah Satania is obviously right there. Jermichael Carter's in that mix, as is Giovanni Gibson. Keontez Lewis and Deion Burks are going to graduate, but you have a guy in Ivan Carrion that I think is poised to play a bigger role next season. The same goes for Elijah Thomas and Manny Choice. And we know Oklahoma's going to be in the market for at least one pass catcher in the transfer portal as well. So I just don't really see a ton of opportunity for Jacob Jordan unless, God forbid, knock on wood, you just see the receiver room completely ravaged by injury the way it was in 2024 when he started to play and play a good bit and play some good ball for Oklahoma throughout the second half of the season.
Drew from Flower Mound with an interesting question. I mean, shouldn't we be worried about losing Nigel Smith? Hasn't played a lot, and I bet he wants to get on the field.
Should you worry about losing Nigel Smith? Right now, I haven't heard anything that would lead me to believe Nigel Smith is like portal bound. But if he does hit the transfer portal, and I not to de-emphasize his value by any means, but is the typical Oklahoma fan going to be sitting there going, aw, shucks? You know, like that's the nature of it when you're looking at the guys that have contributed to this point on the Oklahoma defensive line group versus the guys that haven't. Is the ones you want to make sure are back next year are the guys like Taylor Wine and PJ Adibawara and Jaden Jackson, David Stone, first and foremost. Like, as long as you have those guys, and, you know, Danny Okoye, even though he hasn't really broken through in a complete sense yet, you've seen flashes of what he is, what he can become. And so if Nigel Smith were to hit the transfer portal, I don't know that would necessarily affect Oklahoma's outlook a whole lot on the defensive line in 2026 and beyond. It's not to say he isn't valuable, not to say he isn't going to be a good football player down the road for the Sooners, but he's just kind of stuck in the logjam right now amidst all of those other defensive linemen. And I don't know that it helps his case. He's kind of been caught in between. You know, not really a defensive end, not really a defensive tackle. He's kind of just been occupying the twilight zone between the two and trying to hone in on what his best fit is.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's never a good place to be. One more, on that same note you were just talking, a texter in the 405, how big of a loss is Kendall Dolby?
A year ago, man, that would have felt like a huge loss. Right now, I mean, there's not a great sense of consternation on the text line, at least from what I've seen in the 4 hours since it was announced that Kendall Dolby was going to the portal. And I think that's perfectly understandable because Kendall Dolby has barely played this season for Oklahoma. And what you've seen is the best version of the OU defense that you have seen in upwards of 2 decades. So, are you missing much in waving goodbye to Kendall Dolby? Right now, today, not really. And I say that with a ton of appreciation for what Kendall Dolby contributed at Oklahoma, because when he was healthy, he was a dynamic weapon at that cheetah spot for Brent Venables' defense. But he has been largely superfluous to the equation this season. 405-651-3439. Coming up next, Brent Venables met with the media a little less than an hour ago. So we'll give you guys a chance to hear what he had to say in advance of the Sooners matchup with the Crimson Tide just over 48 hours away at Owen Field. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Feeling stuck in your current home? Now is the best time to make a move. Home Creations is making home ownership more affordable with low interest rate opportunities and special financing. Don't wait. Live like a champion today. Call Holly at 405-364-9999 to find your dream home.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
Purple Wave Auction remains the trusted leader in online equipment auctions. What makes the difference is you. You are part of our growing global community that continues to trust Purple Wave with the equipment that builds and feeds America. This trust placed in us by our community, from construction to ag producers and fleet drivers, brings great equipment opportunities to their next owners. Join the Purple Wave community today. purplewave.com.
Sidelined by injury? Valor Physical Therapy and H2 Health Company can help. Our therapists use their knowledge and skills to help get you back in the game faster. Book your appointment now at valorpt.com or call 405-609-3637. No referral needed. Mention the Ref and get a free t-shirt at your first appointment. That's valorpt.com.
When it comes to buying a home, you need a winning game plan. At Stride Bank, our mortgage team helps you get from kickoff to closing with competitive rates, local expertise, and personalized service. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, we'll be right there on the field with you. Learn more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Stride Bank, on your team since 1913 with Oklahoma roots and nationwide reach.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Looking to buy or rent equipment for your next big job? Warren Cat is excited to announce the opening of their new store in Norman. From industry-leading Cat machines to reliable lift and power solutions, our team is here to keep your business moving forward. As a proud partner of OU Athletics, we're committed to supporting the strength, grit, and excellence that drive our community. Visit our new store off of I-35 in Norman, or visit one of many locations across Oklahoma, or search Warren Cat online. Whatever the job, whatever it takes. Hey Sooner fans, it's playoff time, and Balfour of Norman is your headquarters for game day gear. Whether you're getting ready for the big home matchup or searching for the perfect holiday gift, Balfour has you covered. Check out the latest Jordan Playoff Mode collection, plus the must-have hard-to-kill shirts and sweatshirts, all in stock now. Plus, gifts for every fan, from stocking stuffers to top-tier gifts and gift cards for those hard-to-shop-for Sooners. Visit Balfour of Norman and show your Crimson pride. Gear up, get loud, and go Sooners. CrimsonProud.com.
Hey, Tyler McComas here, inviting you to join me live at Buffalo Wild Wings in Norman Wednesday, December 17th from 3 to 6 p.m. Buffalo Wild Wings will be hosting their annual toy drive in Santa's Workshop. And if you come out to Buffalo Wild Wings in Norman and bring an unwrapped gift of over $20, you will receive a coupon for a free appetizer. You also have the chance to meet Santa, take pictures, choose a bag of goodies, and create an ornament. Make sure to join the ref at the Buffalo Wild Wings toy drive in Norman on December 17th. All donations will be going to Children's Hospital.
Back with you here on Locked In. Parker, Thune, Grayson, Singleton. You know, throughout the regular season, we typically get a Wednesday SEC teleconference with Brent Venables, but of course it is now the postseason. Fortunately, in lieu of the SEC teleconference, the University of Oklahoma and the College Football Playoff provided us with a bonus availability with Brent Venables earlier this afternoon. So Brent wrapped up his Zoom press conference just about an hour ago, which we now bring to you in its entirety. Here are Brent Venables' comments from earlier this afternoon when he met with local media in advance of the Sooners' first-round college football playoff matchup.
Hey, Brent, thanks for doing this. We saw that R. Mason's going to be available on Friday. Just talking to some of the guys, they've all said that he's been super engaged despite, not being able to play. How have you seen him and his leadership over this last month and a half still make an impact on this team and how he attacked the rehab process to get back to this point?
Yeah, just be who he's been. He's got great relationships and respect from everybody in the locker room. He's not a big talker, just generally speaking, but he stays very engaged. I don't think that you can, come back, however long it was ago without doing a lot of work and staying, mentally, a part of everything that we're doing. So, we've traveled him and, he's been at every meeting, every walk through, every team setting, things like that too. So, guys are excited to have him back, and certainly he's, he cares deeply about, his opportunity here, and certainly everything that he's gone through to kind of, help us to be in the position that we're in. So I'm excited for him to be able to get back out on the field with his guys, what he loves to do.
Let's go to Jenny Carlson, the Oklahoman.
Hey, Brent. I know you're singularly focused on what's going to happen on the field, but for a program like Oklahoma that's existed as long as it has, to be in a position to do something that's never been done, host a playoff game, have a game this late in the calendar year at home, have you noticed just a different level of excitement around the building, the program? What's just sort of your sense of such a storied program doing something for the first time?
Yeah, I think there's been some achievement, earning the opportunity to be in the position that we are, where we were 6 weeks ago, and kind of a do or die moment, fork in the road, if you will, and just the guts and the determination, the will of the football team put us in this position, and everybody else gets to all the support that we've had along the way. Everybody benefits from kind of this moment. But for us, we're just getting started. So I know you made reference to singular focus, and that's certainly where we're at. But I think the buzz has been there all season long, I'll be honest, and I think maybe the challenging schedule, excitement with, some of the new guys that are in the building, coach and player both. And then again, the challenge of where, we are as a program second year in the SEC, things of that nature. So I'm here at the end, be one of the 12 teams in college football. Again, proud of our guys, certainly again, but not satisfied, either.
Thanks.
Yep.
John Hoover, Sooners on SI.
Yeah. Hey, Brent. Good to see you, man.
You too.
So much of college football success, when you think about it, is determined by recruiting, obviously. And yet, when you compare kind of where Oklahoma's last 5 recruiting classes, the guys that are on your team now, stack up against the classes that Alabama has signed. There's a pretty good disparity, at least according to the rankings. And so you look at it, that disparity hasn't really proven out on the field yet, at least head to head. So what I'd like to know is this. You guys have been kind of underdogs, I guess, all 3 times you've played them so far. You've beaten them twice. You've described your team as kind of grimy, among other things. How much do you enjoy the idea that your players seem to not only embrace, but actually utilize the underdog role, especially against a program like this that has achieved the things that Alabama has achieved?
Yeah, I mean, it's not again, you're always careful to have that underdog thing become a life of its own. Again, this is a game of doing, a game of proving it on the field, the game of earning it on the field through doing the hard work and the competitive things and being able to do what winning requires. I don't think it's just this week. This is a football team, all of us together that, have been doubted for a long time. So this week is a comfort zone for us. And listen about, again, Alabama is been the gold standard in college football, for the last 15 years. So we got incredible respect, but we look at it, instead of focusing on being the underdog, we look at it, this moment as being more about the opportunity, that's in front of us than we do of, what people might be saying or thinking or a point spread, things of that nature.
Thanks, Brian.
You bet.
Colton Sully, the Oklahoman.
Hey, Brent, you talked about sort of a buzz being in the air this season around the program. I was just curious if there was a specific moment for you that you could think back to, whether it was when you were putting together this roster or after a game or sort of a moment when you thought that this group had a chance to be special.
Is really probably fall camp, just over the couple of weeks of fall camp, the things that you saw on the field, the leadership, the competitive spirit, the quality of the play, how things were coming along, kicking games a part of that, as well. And, everything just started to come together more so than maybe where we were in the spring. And, but that was just through a body of work of both spring and the summer and the focus and seriousness about the group of players, that we had.
Josh McDaniel, OU Daily.
Brandon, we noticed that John was practicing without tape. I'm just curious, was that just because of his practice, or is that just truly a positive sign of his development and recovery?
Well, if you asked him, he still has some soreness, so he's not pain-free. From a stability standpoint, I think he's better, than he's been. And, gripping the ball and things like that. But, so that's why he doesn't have it on.
James Hale, OKC Sports Radio.
Hey, Brent, since you've played them, I don't know if there's been much change between how you guys play defense and what they do on offense, but when you see the matchup going into this game compared to what it was last game, how do you see it? How difficult of a matchup is this for you guys going into the game?
No, it's a great challenge. Again, there's a talented of a football team as we'll face all year. Coached with as good a coaches as we'll face all year in a program that is got, most recently as much success, if not more than anybody in college football. So very talented, tough, physical, determined football team that we're getting ready to play. The margin's incredibly small. They're, what's different, I don't know what's different. Again, this is again, I've said this to you all a couple of days ago. We had, some moments where we played incredibly well. I thought we played incredibly hard. I thought we played with great physicality, but we left a lot to be desired from a fundamental consistency standpoint, trying to make plays, I loved how our guys responded consistently all night. But Alabama will punch you in the mouth, and thankfully our guys responded. But we took too many blows, and thought that at the end of the day we didn't play as well as we were capable of playing. We got to play a lot better, and that's not coach speak. That's reality. We're gonna have to play a lot better, but I believe we will. I think our guys I've watched us improve the last 3-4 weeks of the season, and we're never going to be without air, and we're not going to be. No, there's no expectation that we're going to be perfect, but growing, learning, improving, getting better with the basics is something that we've talked about all year, and our guys have committed to that. They've stayed very loyal to that, and so I expect us to play a little better. You always expect to get the enemy's, the opponent's best. I don't think there's, hoping that they have an off night is not, again, a good strategy. We expect to get, everybody's best that we play into their championship program. So don't expect anything less.
Hey, Brent, good luck, man.
Thank you.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio.
Hey, Brent.
Myron.
Hey, considering how you guys had to basically kind of win out the last month of the season, and the playoffs is all about win or go home, do you kind of see this as an extension of your regular season?
Absolutely. Maybe Taylor Wine is the one that said it. Certainly, that's what we talk about in the confines of this building. Every game's been a playoff since even funky old Illinois State, who's playing incredibly well. But from Michigan to Auburn, so forth and so on, throughout the year. So, I don't see how if the selection process is based on this body of work, then absolutely it's all a playoff. So, this is more of the same. They all been big games all year long. They all been the biggest game in the history of football when it has anybody to do with it in this building. And this week will be exactly the same. I do feel, and again, through it all, we've been battle tested. The emotions and the intensity and the environments and the stage, the magnitude has been there for several games this season for this football team. So from that standpoint, yeah, this is it is a do or die scenario and situation. And there is no mental Monday if you don't take care of business this week. So that's where, again, our focus, as Jenny said, that's putting it all into this moment. And but we really, I feel like we've handled our energy and our mindset to be completely immersed in the moment, which is why we've been able to have success when we needed it the most.
Willie Gillespie, OU Daily.
Hey, Brent, good afternoon. Just saw that Kendall Dolby announced he was entering the transfer portal this morning. Can you speak to the impact he had on the DB room and maybe just the team overall during his time at Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about anybody that's not here.
Okay, thanks, Brent.
But
And last one, Brandon Drum, OU Insider.
Hey, Brent, you talked about the improvement overall just this season with the offense and improving every day, even back, towards Illinois State. Can you talk about those three freshmen, just what they've meant for you guys on the offensive line so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes without saying what a story, that is. And they have played well this year. It's really pretty remarkable. The job that they've done in preparing themselves, week in and week out, certainly the off season. And then certainly the job that Bill has done as well. And the more they play, the better they're going to get. They all have incredible work ethic, great respect for the development piece. They don't walk in here thinking that they've arrived by any stretch. You know, they're just wonderful teammates, great competitors, incredibly talented. But the best thing they got is, man, they've got a passion and energy, a love for, the game and their opportunity. They love being offensive linemen. And they've been a huge part of, if anything, okay, maybe we haven't been as explosive as we want to be, as consistent as we want to be, but those guys have been a major part of helping us kind of be here and not being up and down, and which has allowed, us to stay away from, a lot of negative type of plays that ruin drives and things of that nature, but couldn't be, more, impressed with those three, and then the guys around them to help those guys from a leadership standpoint, help those guys, play at the consistent level that they have. And Fabechi has played a huge role. Troy has played a huge role in helping, facilitate that, amongst others in that group.
Okay, that concludes today's session. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Brent. Thank you, Mike.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is The Ref, home of Sooner fans.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Built for success? How about Built by Law? Law Custom Homes and Construction is here to build your next home. With over 30 years of experience, Barry and Angela Law pride themselves on building the best quality homes in Norman. Locally owned and operated, Law Custom Homes and Construction can also help you with carpet, tile, siding, windows, granite, and roofing. Don't wait. Call Barry Law at 405-919-7118 and let Law Custom Homes build your next quality home. That's 405-919-7118.
Severe weather can strike when you least expect it. Be ready. Download the KOCO5 News app and enable notifications.
I'm getting the alerts from Channel 5 on my phone, and so we decided to go to our safe room.
Customize the alerts sent directly to you. Severe weather coverage streaming right to your phone.
This is your tornado moving up to the northeast.
The most accurate forecast, preparing you days in advance. Before severe weather strikes, get the first alert. Download the KOCO5 News app.
Spread some joy this holiday season with the Hal Smith gift card. One card, 14 restaurants. Giving the perfect gift has never been easier.
Speed can't be taught. You got it or you don't. Rose Hill Builders has it. Their game plan is efficient and they do not cut corners for quality. Trust old coach here. Call Rose Hill Builders to get your approval process started today. Rose Hill Builders, the team you want on your side.
Hey, it's Dari Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch at Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army, just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift? Swing by the Westwood Tennis Center Pro Shop. Choose from annual memberships, gift cards, and great tennis gear for everyone on your list. Make this season merry and active. Go to visitwestwoodtennis.com. That's visitwestwoodtennis.com or call 405-366-8959. 405-366-8959 for daily hours. Celebrate the holidays with Westwood Tennis Center, where every gift is a winner.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
Final segment of Locked In here, Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton. You just heard from Brent Venables. I thought it was really fascinating to hear his answer to the Kendall Dolby question. I'm not going to talk about anybody that's not here. Like, you usually get that type of answer from a head coach when a reporter is trying to bait him into saying something that could be construed as derogatory or dismissive towards a player that could or that has entered the transfer portal or is going to enter the transfer portal. And the answer from that reporter was more along the lines of, hey, can you talk about the good that Dolby has done for this team? And Brent was still like, I'm not going to talk about anybody who's not here.
Yeah, that was curious, right?
Hey, you know what? I like it, though. That's a dude that's dialed in on the task at hand. If you're not for me, you're against me. That's the mentality going into this Friday. And to that point, or to that conversation, I suppose, a question I wanted to get to via the text line at 651-3439. So, this came from a listener in the 580. Who will be the early favorite for Cheetah in 2026? Someone currently on the roster or a portal addition like Daniels? Now, I'd love for you to weigh in here, Grayson, because I want to know your thoughts, but my personal opinion is it's Reggie Powers. I mean, the guy is right there. And as I see it, the one rejoinder you could offer to that is, well, is Reggie Powers better at safety? But Peyton Bowen is more than likely coming back. Michael Boganowski is going to step into Robert Spears-Jennings' old role. And then you kind of have a 2-year succession hierarchy, if you will, at each of those safety spots, whereby Markel Ford is 2 years younger than Michael Boganowski, and he can kind of be your next hitter there at the free safety spot. And then at strong safety, Omarion Robinson is 2 years younger than Peyton Bowen. So he can be the guy that you kind of prepare and groom to take over the reins once Peyton Bowen graduates. So for me, especially based on the way that he's played this year and just the tenacity that he brings to the football field and the mentality that you kind of have to have, and the physicality that you have to play that position effectively, in my mind, it's Reggie Powers.
In your mind, and it should be in everybody's mind, that it's Reggie Powers. I mean, this is probably one of the easier questions we're going to get asked prior to this OU-Alabama game. No, it's absolutely Reggie Powers. And the reason I say it's Reggie Powers is not just because, okay, we can project it, but we've actually seen it. Because Brent Venables' defense, they'll rotate guys in. Like, Kendall Daniels has not played every single Cheetah snap. And Reggie Powers has come in, and Reggie Powers has lit it up. Whether it's on blitzes, whether it's playing the run, playing in coverage. I mean, being a headhunter got him thrown out of a game, but we're past that. But in the reality of the situation is that Reggie Powers, if Kendall Daniels wasn't here, I'll say this. This is how high I think of how Reggie Powers has played. If Kendall Daniels wasn't here, they'd be just fine at Cheetah. Now, he may not be as good as Kendall Daniels. I'm not saying that, but they'd be just fine if Reggie Powers was there. So, no. And I like Boganowski at that free safety. Peyton Bowen's going to be back. You've got that all set up. I'm cool. Now, I will say this on the YouTube chat. Sooner fan 0608. Boganowski should be Cheetah, and Powers should play that free safety. That's his opinion on that matter.
In principle, I'm not opposed when you just look at the skill sets, but I think where Oklahoma has deployed those two this year gives you the indication of what they see each of those guys doing.
Amen.
Reggie Powers has played a lot of cheetah. Michael Boganowski has played a lot of free safety. What that would lead me to believe is that they want Michael Boganowski to be their free safety after Robert Spears-Jennings graduates, and they would like Reggie Powers to be their cheetah after Kendall Daniels graduates. And no doubt, you're going to have other guys in the mix all over the place at either of those two safety spots and the cheetah, because you have guys in that secondary that are going to be able to play cheetah and safety both. Jaden Hardy is a great example of this. Marcus Wimberly, once he gets healthy. Taylor Heim is a linebacker / cheetah, a guy that could play either of those roles. So you have some chess pieces that you can mix in. But your A1 guy at cheetah, in my mind, for 2026 is Reggie Powers, and your A1 guy at free safety is Michael Boganowski.
How do you think Boganowski has played this year?
I think he's played really well.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been encouraged by what I've seen from him, and I feel pretty dang confident that come the 2026 season, come next fall, you're going to be able to just entrust that role to him and basically forget it. You know, he'll be as reliable as Robert Spears-Jennings has been.
I agree.
Sooner Wildcat says, so I'm not a very knowledgeable listener here. Don't sell yourself short, Sooner Wildcat. Would Kendall Dolby still be a part of the team for Friday's game and on into the Rose Bowl should we go farther in the tournament, or is he not a part of the team as of now? Are y'all familiar with the term quiet quitting? I.e., you don't quit your job, but
you mail it in.
Exactly. Kendall Dolby quiet quit back in October. He officially left the team a couple of weeks ago. So, no, he is no longer a member of the team. He is not going to be around for Friday's game. He's not going to be around for the Rose Bowl. Kendall Dolby, when it comes to the University of Oklahoma football machine, is officially a has-been. That chapter is closed. So, appreciate him for what he did while he was here. Man, he was a ton of fun to watch in 2023 and 2024, and it's unfortunate the turn that his career took because of that injury that he suffered last year against Tennessee. But no, he is no longer a member of this program and won't be moving forward. War Sooner says, the play 25 had, that being Boganowski, against Ahmad Hardy on the goal line tells you what kind of player that kid is. Yes. Yes, it does. That's like if you're cutting together Michael Boganowski highlight tape from the year of our Lord 2025, it starts with that play.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't remember it, I believe it was 3rd and goal, and he just comes downhill, flying through a gap, and puts his hat right on Ahmad Hardy's shoulder pads. Brings him down for no gain, and Missouri has to kick a field goal as opposed to punching it in for a touchdown. And that's Michael Boganowski, man. He's going to come downhill. He's going to hit. He's going to offer some intensity and some tenacity and run support, but he continues to get better and better and better in coverage. And that was the big question mark for him coming out of high school because he played linebacker in high school. He was not a safety by trade. So he had to learn. He had a lot to learn when he got to Oklahoma in the realm of coverage. Fortunately, he's got a guy in Brandon Hall that is a real savant when it comes to coaching up safeties.
On that point, let me ask you this. What did they see in him? If you can go back to when they were recruiting him, what did they see in him that made them say he's a safety and not a linebacker?
Mentality and movement skills.
Okay.
As simple as that.
I can see it.
Yeah. They basically saw Robert Spears-Jennings. And in many ways, Robert Spears-Jennings was not a safety for any other school besides Oklahoma coming out of high school. He was a wide receiver. And I'll give Alex Grinch credit here and only here.
Boy, that sounded like some forced words right there.
Because he did see the vision with Robert Spears-Jennings. And I think it was the right vision. And I think his career has borne that out. He's had a great career at Oklahoma as a safety. He could have gone to Ole Miss or several other programs. Texas Tech could have played wide receiver. No. He bought into the vision that Oklahoma had for him at safety, and he's done very well with it, I should say. Sooner Fish says, We all know Dolby quit, then what the hell did you guys expect Brent to say? How's that curious? I don't think either of us remarked that it's curious, Soonerfish. It's just...
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
More so just the way that the question was phrased versus how Brent Venables answered it.
Yes.
Like, it was basically, here, say something nice about Kendall Dolby, and Brent Venables respectfully declined.
What'd you think about his comment on Mateer when asked about him not having any tape on in practice?
Well, what he said, in essence, was Mateer himself would tell you he's still got soreness, he's not pain-free, but he's in a better place than he has been. And if that's the case, and if that's been the case, Grayson, first off, that's kind of a different tune than what we've heard straight from the horse's mouth, because John Mateer has said, it's not my hand has nothing to do with it. So, a little bit of a, not a he said, she said, but a he said in this scenario. But, I don't think it matters a whole heck of a lot. John Mateer, if he struggles on Friday, it's probably not going to be because he's got soreness in his hand. It's probably going to be because he's struggling to see things.
Exactly.
And that's been his main Achilles heel, his kryptonite throughout the second half of the season, is he's just not seeing things as well as he needs to see them.
One more question on the YouTube chat. Pierre asks, who on defense will have a standout game this Friday? Also, who on offense?
Ooh, standout game. Okay. Man, not an answer that's going to shock anybody. But on defense, man, I think it's going to be R. Mason Thomas.
Okay.
R. Mason Thomas plays with his hair on fire in general. After not getting to be a part of virtually the entirety of the Red November run, I think that guy is going to come out with his hair on fire even more so than usual on Friday. And he's going to play angry, and he's going to get home, and he's going to make life difficult for Ty Simpson. And I think he gets at least one. I'll say he gets multiple sacks. Multiple sacks from R. Mason Thomas.
Okay.
It's a 2-sack night at minimum for R. Mason Thomas Friday night. And on offense, I think we see Xavier Robinson get back into that groove that he settled into mid-season. He had that really impressive 2-game stretch against South Carolina, or 3-game stretch against South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee. If we see that version of Xavier Robinson again, that'll do wonders, Grayson, for Oklahoma's ability to cultivate the type of offensive balance that they're going to need to beat Alabama.
Yeah, 100%. I don't disagree with anything you just said. I'm going to ride the hot hand on defense with Peyton Bowen.
Okay.
I'm going to go him. And then for my money, just because he just continues to pop up when Oklahoma wins on offense, give me Isaiah Satania.
Come on. Been a playmaker all year and has continually come up with a big one when Oklahoma's needed it. Hey, folks, Grayson and I have 3 hours of radio together tomorrow. Steely's going to be pivoting to Dari's slot from 9 to 12. Grayson and I will be with you from 12 to 3 p.m. I will be out at Riverwind Casino tomorrow as we get ready for OU Alabama Friday night from Owen Field. Don't go anywhere. The Rush is coming up next. We will see you tomorrow afternoon right back here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Thanks for hanging.